Welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to a live Manchester United news show where we'll be discussing all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and just have a general conversation about Manchester United, Ruben Amorim, everything that's been going on, our match against Sunderland, which is probably our best game of the season. I know the second half wasn't brilliant versus Sunderland, but the second half we did what we needed to do, and that was not do something stupid and make it 2-1 and put some pressure on ourselves. We got the 2-0, we had the good first half, dropped off a bit the second half, but we saw out the game nicely. Now, there has been a lot of criticism over our build-up versus Sunderland, but I just thought, you know what? We won the game. We deserved to win the game. I haven't got much negative to say about the Sunderland game. I was quite happy with the performance. I was very happy with Benjamin Sesko. I was very happy with Amadou and Bouma on the right. Mount had a really good game. I think Cunha was a bit eager to score when he came on. Like, he was trying too hard to score, but I like Cunha and I believe that he will be good. Yeah, I think there's elements over the midfield pivot and how it was used in build-up, but I don't really see the need to be negative about a 2-0 performance where we deserve to win. Nothing could be perfect. We're very early stages in this rebuild. Let's just enjoy the wins when we get them. And do you know what? Liverpool at Anfield, there couldn't be a better opportunity for Ruben Amorim to get back-to-back wins. Imagine if he waits a year to get back-to-back wins, and it will be Liverpool's fourth defeat in a row and Manchester United's first victory at Anfield. And when was the last time we won at Anfield? When did Man United last win at Anfield? January 17th, 2016 was the last time we won at Anfield. So that will be nearly 10 years. It's nearly been 10 years since we won a game at Anfield. Ruben Amorim has not won back-to-back games at Man United. Liverpool have lost 3 in a row. Liverpool's next. I tell you what, it feels like it's written in the stars that we're going to beat Liverpool after the international break. And you might be honest, why are you being so positive? We've been crap this season because Ruben Amorim is a good record versus Liverpool, and is a good record again in the big games versus Arsenal. Under Amorim, I back us more against the Liverpool or Arsenal than I do versus a Brentford, because I feel like we've been quite good in those games. So I'm really confident that we're gonna finally get back-to-back wins after the international break. But then Brighton, I don't fancy us versus Brighton. I don't fancy us versus Brighton. I don't fancy us versus Tottenham, and I don't fancy us versus Everton or Palace because they're bogey teams for us. But I don't fancy us too much versus Liverpool. But I have a feeling we're going to finally get back-to-back wins. But we will talk about that. But I want to talk about the injury boost. I want to talk about how close Amorim actually is to the sack. Romaно's given some updates on that. I want to talk about midfield transfer targets. I want to talk about other transfer targets. Someone said screen is black. Why was the screen black? Could you hear me at least? I don't know if the screen was black. Is it because I'm on another tab? Does the screen go black when I change tabs? This is me on another tab. I hope not. Someone said that I'm back. I don't know why the screen went black there. Maybe because I'm on another tab. Who knows? But let's talk about the news, and then we'll talk about Amorim, and then we'll talk about Sunday. But if Liverpool don't turn up Sunday, then Slot will be sacked. Slot's not going to be sacked. Jurgen Klopp lost 6 games in a row at Anfield. So Slot won the league. He's not going to be sacked. There might be a bit of pressure on him, but Slot's not going to be sacked. But do you know what? I just think it would be perfect to beat Liverpool. It would be so perfect to beat Liverpool because Liverpool would have then had 4 defeats in a row. And then they'd also be like, oh my God, we are the team that let Ruben Amorim win back-to-back Premier League games. Like, imagine being the team that finally lets Man United win back-to-back Premier League games for the first time in over a year. Imagine being like, that's a massive L for Liverpool to take. 4 losses, back-to-back wins for us. And also, if we beat Liverpool, we're 2 points behind them. Like, imagine, after the hardest start, imagine hearing that. Imagine if you told a Liverpool fan 2 weeks ago that Man United could be 2 weeks behind them in a couple of weeks' time. Like, they'd be like, nah, shut up. Now, we've been crap. Like, don't get me wrong, we have not been good enough this season. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, things are really tight. But every 3 points is key, and I just think it'll be amazing. But let's dive into it. Let's dive into the news. Let's dive into the stories. This was said by the Standard Sport. Ruben Amorim hopes to have Lisandro Martinez and Mazraoui back after the international break. So Martinez will be back, but I think Martinez will be... I can't see Lisandro Martinez playing 90 minutes until December. I can't see him playing 90 minutes till December. I think I can see him getting end of October, November, brought up to speed. But I can't see him playing 90 minutes until November. But it's great to have Leach back. Not that we super need him because Luke Shaw has stayed fit. And I think apart from the Manchester City game, I don't think Luke Shaw's been bad this season. I know he's Luke Shaw, and I think if Luke Shaw's one of those players that if he plays bad, he's going to be targeted more than other players. Like there's certain players that can probably get away with playing bad a lot more than other players. And Luke Shaw's one of those where like people will turn on him the minute he just doesn't do something right. And Luke Shaw was atrocious versus Man City. But I actually think Luke Shaw has been all right this season. Like, it's Luke Shaw playing for Man United in 2025. Of course, how are we here? But I think Luke Shaw's been fine. I would have liked to see more of Aiden Heaven, but we've got Leacher coming back in, which will be good. Masraoui can come back in at wing back because I think he's a right centre back, Masraoui, but Delow's not really. Delow, man. Delow. He just doesn't fill me with confidence. This is why I just kind of want to go back to back four. I can deal with the low in a back four, not a back five. But I think it's a big boost with Mandrawi coming back in, Sandro Martinez coming back in. I know the defence hasn't really been our issue. The midfield has, but we don't have any midfielders to go back in because we stupidly got rid of Collier and Eriksson and didn't bring in a midfielder, which is crazy to think. It's like you got rid of Collier and Eriksson and you didn't bring in a midfielder. And look, Casemiro and Bruno's fine, but the midfield is... We needed a bit of control in that second half versus Sunderland, and I'm surprised it took him a bit longer to put Maino on. Yoro, Delic, Mazraoui back three. I like that. What's your go-to Man United back three? Because right now, until Lisandro Martinez is proper back at it, I think Lisandro Martinez's first few games back could be rusty. And if Lisandro Martinez's first few games back is rusty, please, as a Man United fan base, do not turn on him, do not write him off, and do not say we need to sell him. When a player comes back from a big injury like that, their first few games back will be rusty. I don't want anyone turning on him or acting like he's rubbish. You need to give him a couple months to settle back in. But I do think our best back three right now is Yoro left centre-back, Delic central centre-back, and Mazraoui right centre-back. I do think that is our best back three, and it also gives us the versatility if we were 2-0 down, to then Mazraoui can just be a right back. And maybe the current right wing back, Ahmad, could go more in attack, and we could be more of a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 formation if we were chasing a goal rather than having to change the centre-back for the millionth time. Because the one thing about Ruben Amorim I really don't understand is how he has to always make a centre-back sub. Oh, by the way, Delix, you come off for 10 minutes, let me get Maguire on. What's the point? But yeah, I think Mazraoui, Mays is one of the most underrated attackers in the Premier League. Mays, who's that? If you're saying Mazraoui is one of the most underrated defenders in the Premier League, I completely agree with you. Mazraoui is fantastic. Martinez will be a good addition with his passing. Martinez will really help him build up. Our central build-up has been bad, and a big part of that is because of one, Amorim's system, and two, we lack a player that can do that. But Maino can do that, but Maino's on the bench. But yes, Martinez will also help with build-up with his passing. Luke Shaw's been bad in my eyes. Aiden Heaven should be starting. Luke Shaw's been, I think, 6 out of 10. Not amazing, but I don't think he's been bad. But I would like to see Aiden Heaven get a few more opportunities. It'd be nice to me. Yeah. If you meant Mount, the Mount has been very underrated this season. Mace. If you meant Mason Mount, the Mason Mount's been really good this season. And underrated. I think Mason Mount Mason Mount, De Ligt have probably been our 2 best players this season. Mason Mount, De Ligt, and Mbumo have probably been the 3 players that have impressed me the most so far this season. But it's early days. But yes, let's dive into some news. Let's dive into some transfer news. But it's good to have those players back. We'd like to see Le Mans. Yeah, I mean, why? I don't think there's any reason not to start Le Mans versus Liverpool. We've got 1 clean sheet this season. It came with Le Mans. He made some good saves. He caught crosses. Distribution could improve, but I think he was really good, Le Mans. And I don't really have much negative to say about him. And I think absolutely he should start versus Liverpool. Let me share what's been said on Le Mans here. Bear with me. So Pete Hall, who works for iPaper Sport, came out with this today, and he said that several sources within United are yet to hear a bad word about Sen Le Mans. He is the first one to training. The last one out says sources. He does extra sessions all the time, whether it's working on distributing or other things. It's hardly groundbreaking to come into work and work this hard initially, but it certainly sets a tone. he means business. So Le Mans is coming in. He's doing extra work on things like distribution, coming in early, last one to leave. There's reports that Le Mans is very, very committed, and that's good to see. I think a keeper that works hard, the mentality, wants to be the first choice, and as of now, I think he should be starting versus Liverpool, and he's impressed me with what I've seen. Manchester United winning before the international break, what they needed. They have some wins under their belts. I see some improvement, especially last year, but need more. True. I mean, I've seen a little bit of improvement this season. I think we've won 4 out of 8, whereas we won 4 out of about 16 the back end of last season. So there's definitely been little elements of improvement, but I think we've got a really good squad that I need to see more. I need to see more sustainability. I've always said this on Ruben Amorim. I would rather be wrong about Amorim and Man United have loads of success this season and Amorim stays than be right about Amorim and he gets sacked. There's nothing I want more than Ruben Amorim to prove me wrong, go on a good run of games, and Man United have a good season. There's nothing I want more than that. The reason I've turned on Amorim is because we got 34 points in 33 games under Ruben Amorim, which is atrocious. But if Ruben Amorim all of a sudden can go on a run of form, beat Liverpool, beat Palace, beat Forest, get a draw versus Brighton at least, I'm going to be very happy. I'll say this now. Ruben Amorim, 34 points in his first 33 games. Not good enough. Sackable offence. But if Ruben Amorim goes and picks up 65 points from our next 33 games, I will sit here and I'll say I was wrong about Ruben Amorim. You know, I've had loads of people tweeting me because we beat Sunderland. Like, Alice, you're going to apologise to Amorim, we beat Sunderland. Alice, you're going to apologise to Amorim, we beat Sunderland. Alice, I told you it wasn't Amorim, we beat Sunderland. I'm very happy we beat Sunderland, but we're at home against a newly promoted side. We should be beating Sunderland 2-0. The expectation should be, as good as Sunderland have been this season, we should be beating Sunderland 2-0. So loads of people were tweeting me obsessed after the game, you're wrong about Amorim, we beat Sunderland. I was like, first of all, we've won the game and enjoy it. Why are you tweeting me 100 times? But second of all, yes, Amorim deserves credit. We did well against Sunderland. I'm very happy, but I'm not going to change my mind on Amorim because we've won a game against a newly promoted side at home. If Amorim goes and beats Liverpool and goes and beats Brighton and goes and beats Forest and gets a good result versus Crystal Palace, I'll sit here and say, you know what? Maybe I judged too quickly this season. But we could go and lose our next 3 games and then he could be sacked. Do you know what I mean? And I've always said it's not completely on Amorim, a lot of it's on the players. But I think we have good enough players to finish 8th this season. And I think if we finish below 8th, I think that's bad. I think we're good enough to finish in the top 8 this season. I think our squad is good enough to. And my expectation is we should be finishing top 8 this season. I'm not going to celebrate 12th because it's an improvement on 15th. So I've always said this with Ruben Amorim. I'm judging him off 34 games. We've got 33 points. But if Ruben Amorim goes and gets 65 points or more from his next 33 games, I will sit here and say, guys, I was wrong. I was wrong. I judged him too quick. I was wrong. I will 100% sit there and say that. But I'm not going to change my opinion because we beat Southampton. I want Amorim to succeed. I want Amorim to have success at Manchester United. I want Amorim to prove me wrong and be successful. The last thing I want is to sack another manager. I'm fed up with the sacking manager cycle, but I want Man United to be good. And I genuinely believe our squad is good enough to get 8th. And I don't know if we're going to get it with Ruben Amorim. But I would so much rather be wrong about Ruben Amorim and we go and have a really good run of form. And by Christmas time, you know, we're 3rd in the league. And I'll sit here and say, you know what, I was wrong. Then Amorim be sacked next month and we're 15th. I would much rather us be 3rd at Christmas and sit and say I'm wrong about Amorim than Amorim be sat by Christmas and us on 15th. 10 times over. Because all I care about is Man United performing well and playing well. That's all I care about. I just want to see Man United win games. That's why we want new players. That's why we want new managers, because we're thinking, how can we fix this? I want to see us win games. And Sunderland's a good start because they've been good this season. But it is a newly promoted side at home. The expectation is to beat them. I want to see us beat Crystal Palace, Brighton, because the games we don't win is Brighton, Crystal Palace. These are the games we don't win. That's what I want to see. And I want to see not just a win, but a performance that's sustainable. You know? That's what I want to see. I'll apologise when he wins more games. Exactly. I can't change my opinion because we beat Sunderland. I need to see, I need to see consistency. And that's what I need to see. Sunderland's our worst opposition since Leicester in March, true, but Sunderland have been good this season. Look, if we beat Liverpool, we beat Brighton and we get a result versus Crystal Palace, I will sit here and say, you know what, fairs. The fan base is too reactionary. We beat Sunderland, they're ready to give him a 20-year contract. It is weird because, and look, I think, you know, we can all be reactionary at times. Like after Grimsby, I lost my head. I completely lost my head after the Grimsby game, and I don't agree with a lot of the things I said after the Grimsby game now. I just completely lost my head, and I can be reactionary in that sense. But it is, we lose one game, and, you know, Amorim out, rah, rah, rah. Then we win the next game, and some people want to give Amorim a 20-year contract. It's like, we've just won a game versus Sunderland, and people are tweeting me like, told you it wasn't Amorim's fault, I told you it's not the system's fault. And I'm like, we've won a game against Newport outside at home. The system has got 34 points in 33 games. Like, how can Amorim beating Sunderland prove that the system's amazing when it's got 34 points in 33 games? Let's see how we do in our next 30 games. Let's see how we do in our next 30 games. Because if Amorim gets 30 more games, then he gets over 60 points from his next 30 games, then we were wrong about Amorim. But this is one game. We might go and lose to Brighton and go and lose to Liverpool and go and lose to Crystal Palace and suffer 3 losses on the bounce. And the people that were tweeting me like, oh my God, we beat Sunderland, Amorim's amazing, I'll probably turn on him. There's a lot of reactionary. There's a lot of reactionariness. You know, it's a lot of reactionariness. But I generally believe we can get top 8 this season. I think our squad is good enough for that. And if it doesn't look like we're going to get top 8, then I will look at Amorim. I will also look at the players for putting lack of effort in. I thought versus Brentford, you know, I had a rant about Amorim versus Brentford, but if you watch my Brentford match reaction, I said a big part of this is on the players. You know, and the referee was atrocious, and the subs was that. But there's negative goal difference so far, which is true. Man United should be beating Sunderland. Despite April, then it would have been a better win. But Liverpool's the test, despite losing 3 in a row they are. We should be beating Sunderland. Amorim needs to finish top 6 this season, or he should be sacked. Or he should be sacked after the Europa League final. Should have been sacked for the Europa League final. I don't know. 6th was a push. I would like 6th, but I just want to see top 8 because that's progress. Do you think we could beat Liverpool? They look bad. Liverpool are always up for a game against us at Anfield, though. Crystal Palace has started the season good, and Bournemouth, I can see title race being interesting. Bournemouth have been good, Palace have been good, second or third story. So let me quickly get into the second story on Amorim and then the third story on Pavlovic. So, Man United didn't plan to sack Ruben Amorim, even if he was to lose against Sunderland, unless something completely crazy happened, like a 4-0 or 5-0 defeat. Romano said that unless we get absolutely battered, we don't have current plans to sack Amorim. If we lose our next 3 games in a row, Amorim will probably be sacked because we'll be in November, and we know in November it's cheaper to sack Amorim. If we go and get battered 5-0 by Brighton, Amorim will probably be sacked. But if we lose 2-1 to Brighton, but beat Liverpool 2-0 and get a 1-1 versus Crystal Palace, Amorim lives another day. That's how I read it. I think it is, if we go and have some really bad results, he's sacked, but they don't want to sack him unless there's some really bad results. I thought if we lost to Sunderland, he'd be sacked. I think if we lost narrowly 2-1 and we were the better side, maybe he would stay. But I think if we'd have lost 4-5-0 to Sunderland, he would have been sacked. And that's what Romano's saying. But luckily, we didn't lose 4-5-0 to Sunderland. In fact, we could have beaten them 3 or 4-0. But I want to talk about transfer news. I want to talk about a few other stories going about. What do you think of Voltemada? I tell you what, Newcastle have got a gem of Voltemada. I think he's a fantastic player. He's one of my favourite players to watch outside of United this season. Yeah, I'm jealous of that. Well, I'm not super jealous because I think Sesko's going to be good for us, but I think Voltemada looks great. So this came out from Bild. Man United and City are both pursuing a Bayern Munich midfielder, Alexander Pavlovic. Now, Bild is a good source of information when it comes to Bayern Munich. Man United want to sign a midfielder in 2026 and could make a move in January if the right options were available. Manchester United want a midfielder in 2026. They will make a move for a midfielder in 2026 if the right kind of midfielder is available. Now, in Man United's eyes, the right kind of midfielder is Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, and they like Stiller and they like Pavlovic. Now, Pavlovic has been fantastic with Bayern Munich this season. They've won 10 out of 10. Bayern Munich have been unstoppable this season. It's actually ridiculous how good Bayern Munich have been. Now, when Gravenberch left Bayern for Liverpool, Pavlovic was the guy that came in. Pavlovic has elements of a 6 in him with his defensive ability. He can win duels. But what Pavlovic has, which is something Man United lacks, is he's very good on the ball. Pavlovic has a lot of touches, a lot of passes. He's very press resistant. And I'm all for, and I've only watched a few games of this guy, but I can see his talent, particularly this season when I'm watching Bayern Munich. Pavlovic is a fantastic midfielder. I don't think we're going to get Pavlovic. I don't think he would leave Bayern Munich for Manchester United. I don't think he'd leave Bayern Munich in January for Manchester United. Bayern Munich look like they could win the Champions League. But Pavlovic, in 2026, in the summer, I'm all for. He looks like a fantastic midfielder. He really does. I'm a big fan of him. I don't think we'll get him in January. I think there would be a race for him in the summer. I don't know if we'll get him. I think if we have a good season, we can maybe get him in the summer, but who knows? But he's 21 years of age. He can play as a 6, he can play as an 8. Spencer described him as hard to entangle his impressive numbers from Bayern's dominance, but I'm pretty confident he's one of the best under-21s combinations of efficiency on the ball and duel winning in Europe. And we need someone to play in the midfield that isn't just a good duel winner and good off the ball, but actually is good on the ball. Agate's got what we want off the ball, but Agate hasn't got anything that we want on the ball. Do you know what I mean? And we need someone like this who's got what we want on the ball. Pavlovic, I don't see us getting him. But look, I said I didn't see us getting this player and that player, and we've got them in the past. So it'll be interesting to see. A lot of people talking about Voltemada. Voltemada, low-key better signing than Isak ever was at the beginning of the season. I mean, you made like 100 million profit on Isak, so I wouldn't say that. But Voltemada's looking good. A bit reactionary that, but I do like the look of Voltemada. Manchester United also showing interest in 16-year-old Gilberto Mora. Now, I'm not going to act like I've watched 16-year-old Gilberto Mora. He plays for Mexican side. Plays in the Mexican League, sorry. He plays for Liga MX Club Tijuna, and he plays for the Mexican national team. He was at the Under-20 World Cup with Mexico with 3 goals and 1 assist in 3 games, and as soon as the next big thing out of Mexico. Again, I'm not going to act like I've watched this young Mexican player. I know absolutely nothing about him other than what you read online about him. But he's playing at 16 years of age, he's playing in the Mexican League, Liga MX, and he's got 3 goals and 1 assist in 8 games, 16 in the Mexican League, which is crazy. He plays a mixture of attacking midfield and centre forward. He seems to be a bit of a second striker, but at 16, that's really, really impressive. So that could be a talent to watch. Man United are looking at Gilberto Mora, could be a talent to watch. So yeah. The only way Amorim gets to stay is for him to win at least 4 games of the next upcoming fixtures. We can't go 1 win when this team has a habit of winning 1 game and losing the next. Yeah. I mean, for me, let's look at Manchester United's fixtures. Let's share the screen here. Let's go through the fixtures because these are tough fixtures, but these are the make or break fixtures for Ivan Amorim to tell us why he deserves time. This is his opportunity. So Liverpool, I don't think we're going to win that, but there's a part of me that's like, let's see what we can do. So we've got Liverpool, Brighton, Forest, Tottenham, Everton, Palace, West Ham as our next 7 fixtures. I want 4 wins minimum. 4 wins from the next 7. So 1 win versus Forest, 1 win versus West Ham. So they're the 2 easy wins. Go and do something like beat Brighton, because we never beat Brighton, and go and beat Everton. If we lose to Liverpool, beat Brighton, beat Forest, draw to Tottenham, beat Everton, draw to Palace, and beat West Ham, I'll be very happy. But if we lose to Liverpool, draw to Brighton, drop points to Forest, lose to Tottenham, drop points to Everton, drop points to Palace, and then only beat West Ham, then I'd be very disappointed. If we only beat West Ham and Forest out of these sides, I'd be very disappointed. You know, and after that we've got Wolves. We've got West Ham, Wolves, so they should be easier games, but Wolves might be better by them. Bournemouth's a difficult game. Villa, Newcastle, these are difficult games. You know, AFCON's around here. But there's some difficult games coming up, so that's what I want to see from United. Better, not just results, but also better performances, of course. If Amorim got sacked, would not want it to be fans wait for Team Bus to attack him. Yeah, what happened with Rangers was not acceptable. Just to let you know, if you don't like the manager, you're allowed to not like the manager, and allowed to have an opinion of the manager. But if you're actually someone that would threaten the manager and like want to harm the manager or verbally say something horrid to the manager, like grow up. Like for me, I don't get, like, it's football. Like, if a player could be awful for Man United, a manager could be awful for Man United, but I'm not going to say anything to them in the street or chase them. You know, I remember when Maguire bomb threats. Football's not that deep. You know, Ruben Amorim could lose our next 6 games and still be the Man United manager. And, you know, if I saw Ruben Amorim, I'd just say nice things to him because he's a human being at the end of the day. You know, I might think he's underperforming, or I might think this player's underperforming, but I'm not going to go and say horrible things to them. You know, we can have conversations online. We are critical. We'll say this manager's not good enough, this player's not good enough, and we can have that opinion. But there's people out there that will go out of their way to actually abuse players, bombard them, their family, get physical, threaten them, or just say horrible things about players, like to the point where they'll be talking about a player's looks or this or that. And it's like, no, you can have a critical analysis of a player's performance and think a player hasn't been good enough, because 9 times out of 10, when we think a player hasn't been good enough, that player will also think himself he's not been good enough. But you've also got to remember that players are their own biggest critics. When we're sitting here saying Rashford hadn't done this and Garnacho hadn't done that, Rashford and Garnacho will know that as well. And I think, you know, there's a difference between critiquing someone and actually being an asshole and threatening them and abusing them. And yeah, I think what's going on at Rangers is crazy. You know, I just don't get why people would want to hurt the manager. You know, the manager at the end of the day is trying to make it work and wants to make it work. And if he doesn't make it work, he'll eventually be sacked. I don't get the abuse that people get. Yeah. I believe a new keeper will make a huge difference going forward. You know what? I do think Le Mans could make a big difference. Do you know why? I just felt that the back line looked more confident with him behind him. He was claiming crosses. The amount of times we've conceded goals from set piece that Baindir Onana could have prevented, a really obvious one that Baindir Onana could have prevented, or it's because Onana made a save, but then when Onana's made the save, he's palmed the ball into the danger zone. The amount of times Onana's made a save, then palmed the ball right back into the danger zone for the opposition to tap it in. When Le Mans made a save, did you see how he pushed it out of play? He didn't just save the ball, but he pushed the ball away out of play. And Onana saves the ball and pushes it right back to the opponent. He pushed it out of play. And that's what I liked about Le Mans. And those little things, like someone that can claim across, that can push the ball out of play, yeah, it could win us 10 more points. And 10 more points could be the difference between finishing 10th and 5th. You know, I honestly think Le Mans could get us 9 to 12 points if he's good. Now, this is one game we don't know how good Le Mans will be. He looked impressive, but I think Goalkeeper could make a bigger difference than people think. People are saying the audio is scratchy. Is it? I don't know, like, if people are trolling, because some people sometimes say audio is scratchy, others say it's fine. Wi-Fi is laggy, is it? I don't know. Anyway, I'll just wrap up the show then. Thank you for watching, but apparently the audio's gone, so I apologise for that. Why? Like, is it bad? I don't know why the audio's gone. So I'll just wrap up the show. But thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.